the controls. And Money Talks is brought to you by Solera Club. Solera Club is a royalty-based investment. That means you get paid first. That's the style of that investment. There are no fees attached. It's in the tech sector, and you can find more by going to soleraclub.com. A few thoughts coming out of the Republican Democratic conventions. This is a difficult time for both the political establishment, well, actually the political establishment, which includes the mainstream media, organized labor, crony capitalists, the political wing of the arts community, the chiefs of the Assembly of First Nations. Well, just about anyone who's on the receiving end of significant government money is part of that establishment. But everywhere they look, it must be so confusing because they're surprised by what happened with Brexit, Italy's five-star movement in Rome, Trump and Saunders' popularity. And on Thursday, Catalonia, the most prosperous state in Spain, capital city Barcelona, has voted to secede. And that's just about as big a middle finger as you can give the Spanish political establishment. I mean, the list goes on. Put your money on the anti-EU Freedom Party winning the Austrian runoff election in November. But I think for them, everywhere they look, they're surprised. What the establishment can't seem to grasp, doesn't want to grasp, I don't know if they can even entertain it, is that we're changing government's role in society, whether they like it or not. And I think they're going to continue to be surprised until they understand that. And so will investors. I keep talking about the decline of the establishment fueled by an increasing lack of confidence in government because it's the key trend driving the major moves in financial markets, whether it's currencies, precious metals, stocks, you name it. And no one else in the media seems to talk about it. So I got to. I used to think that we could avoid what's happening by taking a different course. But what's clear to me now is we're not going to, because there's no appetite by the elites to change course. It's amazing to witness what's going on in the U.S. presidential election and not even suspect that there's a bigger picture. I mean, my goodness, a choice between the blowhard narcissist Donald Trump, who's never been held hostage by the facts or the truth, and Hillary Clinton, an unethical action machine, a pathological liar. By the way, it's almost laughable to see the press, especially in Canada, line up behind Hillary. I held my finger over my nose, or rather, tweaked my nose, watching and reading the coverage of the latest batch of emails chronicling the subversive efforts of the Democratic Party brass to undermine Bernie Sanders. In collusion, I might add, with some members of the media. I mean, it's important to understand that this was not an attack on government. That's one thing. Or government corruption. This is very different, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it. It was an attack on democracy itself, and that's the thing that has far more serious consequences for the overall system, because when confidence leaves that system, boy, what comes out the other end can be very dark. I mean, that was a very serious thing. As I say, didn't read a thing about it. But I haven't read or heard a single commentator. You know, why didn't they pick up on this? Maybe they're too enamored with their own opinions, their political preferences, their own views. I don't know. Let me finish by noting another major check mark on the road to establishment hell. And that's the Democrat and the media cheerleading for the Democrats' message of sunny days, that narrative. Now, I appreciate they're saying that as an alternative to Trump's message of dark times. But I don't know if they're so out of touch with what's going on that they actually believe it. Certainly members of the media do. Sure, it's sunny days if you're a political lobbyist, a member of Congress, or one of the Clintons. I mean, according to the Financial Times, the Clintons made $28 million in 2014, $27 million in 2013. But consider this, between 2007 and 2014, the median wealth of Americans dropped 43%. The number of people on food stamps hit record highs, while the net worth of the average congressman jumped 28%. Yeah, it's sunny days for them. But I wonder if the black community in Baltimore, or Ferguson, Missouri, or Dallas thinks that it's sunny days. I mean, the majority of the media commentariat delights in contrasting the doom and gloom of Donald Trump with the Democrats' sunny days message. How totally establishment of them. We're witnessing the most murderous racial tensions in decades. A record 95 million Americans are permanently unemployed, and now an election between the two most unpopular, most flawed candidates in history. And they laugh at Trump's dark days message and cheerlead the Democrats' elitist delusion. But this is the age of consequences. That's the theme of this show over the last 2 years. And when you ignore the disenfranchised, the increasing number of people permanently unemployed, the intellectually and morally inferior, at least according to the progressive left, it all comes at a price. In the U.S., social discord's on the rise. The elites are increasingly seen as corrupt, self-serving, untrustworthy. And that's going to lead to change. Change already on display in Europe. And it's going to bring down the EU in its current form. Please note my prediction here. The next 4 years are going to make the economic, financial, and political chaos of the last 7 years look like the good old days. It's coming. It will change everything. And unfortunately, way too many people in the mainstream media and the political establishment, they're not going to see this one coming. Money Talks is brought to you by Solera Club. For more information, go to soleraclub.com. Coming up, I'm going to talk with Michael Levy. You can find out who made $3.4 billion in a single hour on Wednesday. With that and the big fat idea right here on the Money Talks Network. I'm glad you're with us. You're going to love this. I've got Don Violo to join me after the top of the hour. He's the guy who talks about seasonality in the markets as a starting point. Like, it's the season for gold. It's the season for stocks, or maybe not. But I love that approach to it. And then you can go in and do some technical analysis, fundamental analysis. But he's basically saying, here's what it is. Don't swim upstream against this. Let's get to Michael Levy, though, because I got a big question for him. Michael, $3.4 billion made in a single hour this past Wednesday. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, when they announced their quarterly results and just blew the analysts out of the water, Mike, and the bump in his stock increased his net worth by $3.4 billion in under an hour of trading.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? I was going to say, forget blowing away the analysts. It blew me away.
Mike, he's age 32 and youngest of the top 10 billionaires in the world, fifth wealthiest person in the world with a net value of $56.7 billion.
Well, speaking of the big money, though, I also caught, of course, Amazon once again was profitable in the second quarter. And, man, everything was flying around about what it meant to Jeff Bezos, the CEO and the founder. I think he owns 18% of the stock, but my goodness gracious, I had to sit down for that one.
Well, you do. He's the third wealthiest person in the world. And I love Bezos, the way he went about developing Amazon, not worrying about profits, obviously wanted his business to be profitable, but reinvested everything back into the business, kept taking losses quarter after quarter after quarter, and almost sounded surprised himself when he put together back-to-back-to-back quarters of profits in his company. He keeps pouring money back in, and it keeps returning money to the company, to shareholders. And by the way, he's the third wealthiest person in the world. He owns 18% of Amazon, and he's worth over $65 billion. And Mike, one more number for Bezos. This is the one almost as big a head turner as when you look at Zuckerberg. His profit in this quarter, or the profit of Amazon this quarter a year ago, $92 million. Profit this quarter, 2016, $857 million.
Yeah, it's amazing. A couple of things about that, though, that, as you say, Amazon existed. It's, by the way, July 1995 is when they launched that as a book site, basically, over the internet. And I still remember, Mike, people going, I'm never going to give my credit card over the internet and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And now, I love this, to just throw another fact back at you. Amazon has over 235 million products listed. Like, think about that. And I know in Amazon UK, Amazon Germany, Amazon France, they also have another, a huge amount available. But that was revolutionary, obviously.
Mike, it was. And the thing that I look at and sort of scratch my head, like Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. Hey, that's print journalism, which is supposed to be going nowhere, yet he saw a future in that. But listen to what he's doing now. He's opening, Amazon is opening physical bookstores where you can go in and buy books, with the first one now open in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, when you get stuff like that, I would absolutely love to get a chance to talk with him and say, what's the thought there? I mean, your whole advantage was, again, that you didn't have the bricks and mortars cost, that you would refine things so much. And now, as you say, they're moving into that. And I found, what the heck?
And Mike, the other thing that I think he's such an ingenious person, forward-looking. He's partnered with Wells Fargo Bank to offer discounts on student loans for members of his Prime student services. Now, Amazon Prime is what we talk about. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get free shipping, particularly in the U.S., but also in Canada. And by the way, same-day shipping on some stuff, free. But here he is now through Amazon offering a 0.5% discount through his Prime student services in partnership with Wells Fargo Bank for students looking for loans.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, the visionary, but he also, had to find investors with him. Like, he owns 18% of the company, because over those period of years, he had to give away more chunks of the company because it wasn't profitable. So again, they needed more capital to keep the thing ongoing. But I want to talk about another one because it's got a Canadian connection about founding Google, financing the two founders there. And of course, cool people call it Alphabet right now, so I want to do that. But again, another big home run for Google when it looks at, or Alphabet, sorry, earnings per share.
Oh, it was, Mike. They had their advertising revenue was up 19% in the quarter over last year. Listen to this. These numbers are numbers that any of the analysts of all three companies just got left in the dust, to $19.14 billion. But the thing about all of these companies, but Alphabet or Google, and let's call it Google for a minute, is they are visionaries. When YouTube came out in 2005, it took Google 1 year to see, wow, that's going to go somewhere, and they bought it for $1.6 billion in shares. And look what YouTube has done now. It's just, you just take a look. YouTube is bigger and has more people, 18 to 34 and 18 to 49, watching YouTube videos than any other TV network, broadcast, or cable.
Yeah, it is incredible when they reach more 18 to 34s, 18 to 49s than any TV network. That's another day we can talk about that, because that's obviously another profound shift, in the media. So yeah, there's lots going on. Mike, you go out and see how well you do in the next hour on your net worth.
Oh, I'm just going to work on depleting it, Mike.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
Michael Levy joins us. Have a great long weekend, Mike.
You too, Mike.
I'm taking a break. I'm coming back because I got a big fat idea. Well, actually, I don't have the big fat idea. Luckily, Colin Boket's with me, President, VentureWorks Capital. Can you make money from this? We all know the trend. It's the aging population. And can you make money from it? Well, Colin thinks you can. Stay with us. Whether you're listening to us on moneytalks.net, you're downloading, this is a podcast, maybe you found it on Facebook at Michael Campbell's Money Talks, or you're hearing on the tweet. And of course, that would be Money Talks tweet. I hope you're enjoying the weekend. Fabulous midsummer kind of thing, the way people feel about this. And that's no better time to give you a big fat idea. Can you make money from old people, or the fact that we're all getting older? And every time I wake up in the morning, I figure out I'm getting older. Colin Boket's with me, President, VentureWorks Capital. You can find him at www.ventureworks, W-E-R-X is works, ventureworks.com. Hey, Colin, what about it? Can I make some money after the old, we all know there's an aging population. Maybe I should make some money as well as feeling bad because I'm part of it.
Well, I was going to come on and talk about real estate. You've probably got 30 guys doing that already. So, yeah. I agree. There's money to be made from the global population. I'm aging. We're all aging. And it's really leading to some really interesting opportunities. So we've been spending a lot of time lately researching healthcare and life science companies, which really brings us to the next big idea, which is to invest in profitable, keyword profitable. I know I always say that, but it's true, life science companies that have got great growth potential.
Well, the fact that they're profitable gives you a lot more cushion if things go bad, because at some point the profit sort of resurfaces in a down market and value starts getting bought up. Let me just talk, quickly, so profitability is that, and do we play this, just on the stock market? Are there certain companies that way? And I'll get you to give me an example for us.
Yeah, sure. I think the important thing here is, this is what we do. We look for companies that are already successful and profitable, but they've got the ability to go to the next level. And these are hard to find. And the thing that steers us away from a lot of the opportunities in the life science sector is that they're either yes or no. It's a binary event. They've got a chance of being successful, but a huge chance of failing. So we try to stay away from those. But we also know that there's a massive market here. I mean, the global market for antibodies alone is in the region of $50 billion a year. It's growing rapidly. So we want to be able to find the diamonds in the rough. So we've spent a bit of time trying to isolate the companies that we think meet all these criteria.
Well, give us a couple of examples that, obviously you don't know individual portfolios, so it's not a recommendation past saying put this on your radar screen, talk with a financial professional. Give me a couple, though.
Sure. Well, we've actually got one that meets all these criteria really well. It's still a private company, won't IPO until the fall, so it's a bit early to talk about that. I'd love to come back in the fall and have a chat about it, but we've got a couple. They're low-risk, profitable companies. They service the healthcare market, and they already trade. One is a company called Bioscient, and it trades on the TSX Venture under ticker RX. It's a specialty pharmaceutical company, and it's got a great business model. It focuses on in-licensing or acquiring products that are already successful elsewhere, and then they market these products here in Canada through its community of hospitals and international business units. So
symbol is RX again for that.
Yeah. RX, yeah. It's got a good ticker as well, I think. Anyway, it's got a great customer base, solid portfolio of products, and it's recently broken out of a holding pattern. It's looking really strong right now. And
now, you'd expect to hold this for about a year, but do you have another one for us quickly?
I've got one other one, an interesting company called Hamilton Thorne, and it trades on the venture as well. Ticker is HTL, and it works in the areas of fertility, stem cell, and the biology research markets. But what's interesting is the fertility sector is in particular, and this factors back to the aging population and how long people are staying in the workforce. It's growing rapidly, and it's on a global basis. So their solutions make them ideally situated to benefit from this. So we like that one a lot as well.
I love all the stuff around stem cell research and the applications because they're far broader than I appreciated. I just think that's a dynamite kind of area. Someone's going to do very well in that area. Again, the symbol is HTL. Very quickly, who's this appropriate for? When you say,
Well, I think it's fair to say these are growth stories. Now, they're both profitable companies, so the downside risk is minimized. But they're for someone looking for growth for sure.
Yeah. As I say, the profitability, though, is a key that turns it from speculative into, viable that way as a growth company. Wow. Yeah, it's a fascinating sector, and I really agree. And it's time that people had a look at this and had some play in this general sector, because as we started off with, come on, we're all getting old. To me, that's a very important part to do something with that. Great stuff as always, Colin. I really appreciate you finding time for us today.
Thanks so much, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Colin Bouquet, president of VentureWorks Capital, but I want to spell that out, W Venture, but it's WERX. That's how you spell works in this case, ventureworks.com, www.ventureworks.com. Hey, stay with me. I've got a great quote of the week for you. Then we got Don Violo. He's always so fascinating to talk about. I mean, you can throw anything at him, and he'll tell you historically, has that been a good season for whatever particular investment you're talking about? Obviously, I'm going to talk about oil and gold and the stocks, all of that coming your way. Plus, we got our quote of the week, so stay with us right here on the Money Talks Network.